What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, alongside all of the slate changes and the rest of the multiverse saga delays that we've been hearing about now for a couple of months, the other big story in the rumor mill especially has been which Avengers are going to show up and in which Avengers film. Avengers 5 writer Jeff Loveness, of course, because of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, talking about that quite frequently, name-dropping several characters recently, even ruling out characters like Fantastic Four and Blade, and saying he was looking very forward to writing Namor, sort of giving us a little bit of insight as far as who's going to show up. But still, one question remains on the horizon. Who's going to play that pivotal role, not just the leader of the Avengers, say, but rather the main adversary to Kang, the counterpart, and dare I say it, the Tony Stark of the multiverse saga? Well, now we have a brand new industry insider report seemingly talking about just that and setting up Doctor Strange as that character. We're going to read through this recent update, talk about where it came from, exactly what they said about this character. There's also some things to say about this scoop as well on a macro level as someone who isn't a scoopster himself most of the time, but covers scoopsters from the outside looking in. We're breaking it down, the latest Doctor Strange as the major setup and adversary for Kang as we head into Avengers Secret Wars. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content at the channel, and that's all we do. Everything from official Easter egg breakdowns, trailers, and reviews to the occasional industry insider report and everything in between. So if that sort of thing's for you, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. That will automatically enter you to win our ongoing PS5 giveaway. The next one coincides with Guardians of the Galaxy in just a couple of months. Again, all you gotta do, be a sub, leave a comment on this video. If you want, stick around to the end of the video. We get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so this news broke in the last 48 hours under the headline, What I Heard About Doctor Strange vs. Kang in the Multiverse Saga, coming from the Cosmic Circus, where they go on to report, quote, "Our sources have informed us that the final matchup, explored leading into the next Avengers films, will be pitting Doctor Strange vs. Kang on opposite sides of the battle to come. Both Strange and Kang will serve as the key players on each side. This matchup is comparable to Tony Stark vs. Thanos and Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. However, the distinct detail that separates this story from the one told before with Tony and Thanos is the role that Kang will take in this matchup. Kang's perspective, and the angle Marvel Studios will want to pitch to audiences, is that he's the hero trying to save the multiverse from the greatest threat yet, Dr. Stephen Strange." Now, they go on to say in the next article that the notion of Doctor Strange, quote, being the villain isn't too far-fetched. After all, we already saw a Sinister Strange variant in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and have theorized in the past that Sinister Strange is the outcome most Stranges will eventually become. Now, I actually want to work backwards on this with the theory here at the end that's predicated by the scoop. And the reason I want to start with the theory is it's almost assuredly true about Doctor Strange. We've already been shown this in canon and from totally separate stories. The Doctor Strange that we follow through What If eventually consumes so much power and has to be locked away in his own concealed part of a crushed multiverse. We also know that the Doctor Strange from 838 caused an incursion and subsequently was executed by the Illuminati for that. We also know that the Doctor Strange from the opening of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was willing to kill America Chavez in order to stop this demon from getting that power, so ultimately maybe not the greatest guy in the world. We also saw the Sinister Strange that our Doctor Strange from 616 interacts with at the end. Most of the Doctor Stranges that we've seen, less than 10, more than 5, have actually ended up in a sinister capacity, and we already know, confirmed from the end of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, that there are lasting consequences from our 616 Doctor Strange using the Darkhold. Now, any withstanding theories that he's actually being daywalked into from the other Sinister Strange before he died, we can talk about those in separate videos, but just using the Doctor Stranges we've been introduced to in our small time in the MCU, it has seemed like they've created a canon where eventually, if Doctor Strange, like Wanda, uses the Darkhold, they are on a crash course for becoming a destructive force in the universe. And this is where, instead of just having a villain like Thanos who thinks he's the hero from his own point of view, they may be actually able to convince us that, at least from Kang's point of view, Doctor Strange is the one causing these incursions. Now, funnily enough, there actually is a counter argument to this. I remember in a theory that we covered here at the channel over a year ago. Remember, at least in the way it's presented in cinema, the sequential releases, we saw the multiverse variant of Kang, He Who Remains, die at the end of Loki season 1, almost a year before we saw Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And in that film, we know that Doctor Strange from 838 caused caused an incursion. It could be that the Illuminati got this wrong, and so did Doctor Strange. His daywalking wouldn't have caused an incursion if He Who Remains hadn't have died in the first place. Like, one caused the other, and there were some theories that perhaps the Illuminati had wrongly executed their Doctor Strange. Even if that theory stands, you still have multiple versions like the What If version and the Sinister Strange we see at the end of Multiverse of Madness to set up, well, let's say an uneven ratio. Yes, most Stranges with the power they consume end up becoming evil, especially if they've used the Darkhold, which we know our Doctor Strange has. Now, the scoop that comes before this theory at the end, I think has just as much weight. Remember, at least right now, with only a couple of candidates, I would say in Shang-Chi, Sam Wilson's Captain America, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and maybe Captain Marvel, maybe Shuri's Black Panther, as characters that could be up for this role. There's a limited number right now, and I think some of the characters I just mentioned, I'm being a lot more friendly than I should. I don't think that they're actually in the running. We had already heard that Tom Holland's Spider-Man may be up for the lead in Kang Dynasty, and rest assured, if Destin Daniel Cretton is going to direct that film the way I think, and they do end up shooting Shang-Chi 2 concurrently, which has been the huge rumor that Shang-Chi will be a lead in that film as well. I also think Shang-Chi would be the perfect character for a Tony Stark-like role at the end of the Multiverse saga, except for we just haven't had enough screen time and development for his character. Now, that may change between now and then, but say a character like Tom Holland's Spider-Man, or in this case, Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange, we've not only had them during the Multiverse saga, but we were invested from the beginning of the Infinity Saga with these characters as well, which means they may be a lot closer to the end of their arc, and they know that the audience has a lot more time invested and spent with those characters. That's why I think ultimately for Secret Wars, if you're going to have that one counterpart, I think it's just logical Doctor Strange is in the running for that, if not Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And of course, if you are familiar with the Jonathan Hickman 2015 run, the character that really is the counterpart with Namor at his side would be T'Challa, Black Panther. And so I think there may have been a reason, and specifically they introduce a young T'Challa at the end of Wakanda Forever, because after we travel the multiverse and up and down timelines, there is plenty of time to bring an aged up adult T'Challa back, and they may perhaps have him play the same role he did, interacting with the hologram of Doctor Strange, to be gifted not only a multiverse device that let him travel anywhere and combat God King Doom, but also a fully loaded Infinity Gauntlet, which he promptly takes to the part of the fractured battle world that has a bunch of Marvel zombies, including awesome characters like Zombie Hulk and others. He then leads them against God King Doom. Man, I'm really hoping they have that play out on screen. I have my fingers crossed, but I think at this point there's no even promise of Doctor Doom or God King Doom involved in all the rumors of Kang possibly being a Beyonder variant. It looks as though Michael Waldron and Jeff Loveness, they may go completely off script with this Secret War setup and do something completely different than the comics. Hey, remember guys, Adam Warlock wasn't in the Infinity Saga for the MCU and it worked out just fine. Now, one thing I want to say at the end of this video, because I think on some level it does pertain to sort of the stuff we cover here at the channel. Guys, when I do videos, regardless of who the source is, whether it's anonymous from 4chan and Reddit, and I am completely skeptical and debunk it, whether it's coming from an industry insider who's willing to put their own name on it, a Twitter scoopster, an anonymous source, and everything in between, I make sure to tell you where all this news is coming from, and that's just because I get frustrated myself as a consumer of a lot of this news when I see something quoted or see something reported and they didn't say where it comes from, because then you can't really separate fact from fiction. But as we've said a million times, and we'll continue with the channel, you just got to kind of take all of this with the amount of reverence that's comfortable for you. If you're totally susceptible to everything you hear, then some of these things are going to be wrong. Semicolon. Back in 2019, when We've Got This Covered reported that Namor would be the villain in Black Panther 2, everybody said that was horrible clickbait trash. 2019, We've Got This Covered. And back in late 2019, when Mikey Sutton was saying that Sony was definitely going to bring Tobey and Andrew back for a live-action Spider-Man, 2019, everybody said it was horrible clickbait trash. Now, of course, we've gotten things wrong here at the channel along the way, and we've also gotten things right, but I really hate to see any scoopsters, so to speak, put in a situation where they feel like they've got to defend themselves, especially when they're putting their name on it. And in this case, I think a separate industry insider may have debunked this or tried to say that it wasn't true, because I later saw the writer of this article tweeting out that the same sources that told us about the delays, and months before they were made public with this most recent announcement of the Marvels being moved all the way back to fall of this year, is the same sources talking about this Kang and Strange duality. My address to those of you here at the channel is just to remember that these scoops have a shelf life of their own, that in 2 or 3 years when we see Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, we'll know whether this specific scoop was right or not, in the same way that years later we saw Namor be the villain of Black Panther from a scoop all the way back in 2019. And I don't think anybody needs to have to defend themselves, because scoops are what they are. Some of them are right, some of them are wrong, and as Kevin Feige said in the last couple of years pertaining to this exact subject, that the fun thing about scoops is you have no idea which is which. And that's just a reminder to you to treat all of these with the right amount of reverence. Don't buy into too much of anything, just keep it as part of the discussion and in the fandom, in the zeitgeist, and as part of your theories going forward. That's certainly what I've always tried to do and encourage, and especially just exactly that, keep you guys informed with sources that are cited. No need to have to defend anybody. It is what it is, and certain people are gonna, of course, always want to take it the way they do, misquote it, misconstrue it, say it's not right. And that's on them too. If you don't take it as absolute truth, then there's nothing absolutely wrong about it. Let me know all your thoughts down below, as always, guys, about Doctor Strange being the Iron Man of the Multiverse Saga, or if there's a different character you would prefer. As always, I'm all ears. Quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. All right, we're still giving away a PlayStation 5. This time it's going to be coinciding with Guardians of the Galaxy. So if you haven't been a subscriber already at the channel, perfect time to do so. Just hit that subscribe button, leave a comment on this video, and because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All the winners will always be announced in the same place, at the end of the videos, live with my voice on the screen. In like this section of the video here at the end, right, I would throw the comment up, show you the comment, and announce the winner. If that doesn't happen, there is no winner. So remember that anybody can use anybody else's photo, and unfortunately there are scammers and spammers all over YouTube, on my channel, other channels alike. If you should get a comment, remember, no YouTuber will ever ask you to contact them on a third-party app like Telegram and WhatsApp. No YouTuber will ever ask you to pay for shipping, me included. I only announce winners on screen. I only talk to them through my verified business email or through my DMs on Instagram, where my account is also verified. Please be safe and vigilant, and if you should get one of those comments, again, on my channel or any other channel, you are doing a great service to the YouTube community by reporting those comments. Little 3 dots on the side of the comment, report them to YouTube, they'll delete the account. It is a huge help. My name is Michael Roman. You can find me in a couple of places, Instagram and Twitter at I'mFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes, wherever you listen to original music under the name Allfires. And while I sincerely appreciate you checking my music out, thanks for checking this channel out. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.